Welcome everybody. This is the third session of Python lesson, and today we will talk about loops and functions. But before that, let's see what we learned last week, just in a 10 minutes. First, we learned about built-in functions. As you can see, we called the file built-in functions, and we learned about the different built-in functions. For instance, print by itself is a built-in function. It takes different arguments. For instance, this text, this number, and again another text. You can continue, you can add whatever you have. So what we can understand from this line, actually, it can take multiple parameters, absolute value to change an absolute value of a certain number. The absolute value of -1 is going to be, for instance, 1, and the absolute value of -9 is 9, and something like that. For instance, here also the int can help us to change this string to a number, to an integer. And this is, as you can see, a float, and it will change it to an integer. So what are you expecting from this output? It's a kind of a quiz. What's the output you are expecting, guys? Tell me.
9.
9, great, because it's just usually take the lower. So what are you expecting from this one?
9.81.
Yeah, 9.81. It remained the same, and this will change to string. And then, as you can see, what are you expecting? The type of the data type. What data type are you expecting from this?
Integer.
Think again.
String.
No, and think again and look at it. Because as you can see, we had 2, we changed it to string first. After we change it to string, we are checking the type. So we are expecting here string. Actually changing into string. Yeah. What do you think the value of this comparison?
True.
Yeah, it should be true. So we also saw the dir function, which allows you to give different methods, the available methods of something. For instance, if you say dir, and if you pass a string, it gives you a string method. And if you write list or maybe print and the dir, you write list like this, right? This is list. And then it gives you the methods available for list. Or sometimes list, we write also list something like this, so you can get some value for that. I think these are some of the built-in functions we learned. Maybe some part might be somewhere else, but as I told you, you don't have to learn all the built-in functions at once, because you don't have to. No need to remember or memorize all at once. So our material is going to be this 30 days of Python is our reference material. And remember, just go there and check things. It's really well documented material. So these are some of, even I'm not sure if these are all the available methods. For instance, we have seen the different string, we have seen some print, file, we will see that later. We saw length already, type by itself, float, and this reduce comes later. List, actually, it's to create an empty list. Row input, instead of row input, now it's changed to the new Python, just input. So you don't have to memorize this, but you have the idea now. And then actually we learned about list, different methods of list. This is how you create a list. If you want to create an empty list, actually, empty list, this is just you put something like this. Yeah, just 2 square bracket. No. Or you can actually create empty list, something like this also. This is also an empty list. Yeah, an empty list can be created like that or like this. And then actually to access each of the values, we agreed that the index is start from 0, the index, we access by the index. If we write something like this, we are accessing 1. If we are writing something like this, we are accessing 2. If we want to access this one, so length minus 1, or we just use the minus this. And to modify, actually, we target by index. For instance, the index here is 0. And then when we give a new value, it will be replaced. And to add something at this side, the right side, we use the append. For instance, we add append. Extend, if we want to add many or multiple values, we just as in array, we use extend. Yeah, have you seen here? I used dir and numbers. Numbers is now a list, and it gives me the different methods available there. If I just run it, you will see what I'm talking about. Have you seen? These different methods come from the dir. So try to make use of the dir, the power of dir to know. Reverse, to reverse the list. Sort, to sort out, and also we can pass a value, true or false, to make it ascending or descending. And also, if you remember, we were talking about copying. Who can remind me the difference between just normal copy, countries, copy and countries? What is the difference between this copy and this copy? It's your turn now.
It's when you're going to change countries, it will be unpacked countries copy also. But
Yes.
if you want to create two copies like separate, you have to use the copy function.
That's true. If you do something like this, whenever you make any change on here, you are also changing the original. And we call this mutation. You are mutating it. You are modifying it. So avoid this kind of copying. Instead, copy like this. When you copy like this, actually you don't, once if you copy this, you don't touch the original when you are modifying this. Yeah. Do you remember this, guys? Let me know. How many of you remember? If you remember, just type 1. Great. Everybody remember. Let's see. Okay. Then pop, actually, pop removes one value from this side. But if you actually pass an index, it removes that a specific element with that index. For instance, this, let me tell you, countries dot pop, this just remove the last one. So that means Estonia will be removed. But if you do something like this, which country is going to be removed with this?
Sweden.
Sweden, yes, Sweden. And also we can use delete. This is you go to the specific, for instance, this delete Finland, because we are targeting Finland, as you can see. Yeah, these are some of the methods we learned. And then we learned about conditionals. Yeah. Who doesn't like making decision? To make a decision, you should know if conditions. So, and to make a decision, we have to have some evidence, right? We have to have some statement, and that statement should be true or false. If something is greater than or less than, we compare things, and if we compare, there will be an output that's going to be true or false. Yeah, if you remember this, the weather, like we were getting data from the user, and then we change it to lower because users are so lazy. They put a uppercase, lowercase, so it may not fit to your conditions. So we get data from the user, and right away we change it to lowercase. And if I run this, for instance, it will ask me enter the weather, and if I pass sunny, it prints this, and if I pass rainy, it will print this one, and if I say cloudy, it says the weather today is foggy, cloudy, and gloomy, and it may rain. If I don't pass anything or something else, it's going to be no one knows the weather of the day or today. Yeah, something like this statement. And also we wrote some conditional, something highlighted here, as you can see, to check if a number is absolute or not. I mean, if a number is an integer or not. Yeah, so enter a number. If it is greater than 0, it's a positive number. If it is 0, it's a 0, of course. And if it's less than 0, it's a negative number. Yeah, that is what we've learned. I think we have also learned about these operators, but by now you know everything about operators. The assignment operator, this the equal sign is nothing to do with equality. Instead, it is a comparison, a way to compare something. And then we saw arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo. I think that is to find the remainder. And this is the floor division. We don't care about the remaining values. We just care the quotient or the uh, yes, the remaining value, and this is the exponential. So we can use this way or this way. Yeah, great. And then we talk about the booleans, the logical operators, and or not. Yeah, like a compound statement. Yeah, even we say Python is awesome, JavaScript is awesome. And then we made actually one compound statement from these two simple statements. Python and JavaScript are awesome. Oh yeah, if they are anyway. So just a very simple example for you to think in your brain. Okay, so these were the examples we used for logical operators. Yeah, I think that was what we have covered last week. It was not much. Does it help, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, now let's start and create a folder, and we call this folder, of course, week 3. Great. And I will close everything and I will start. Today's lesson will be, maybe I have to give you a hint first. I usually, what was this? I have one note. Yeah, I can create some just file here, notes dot md. This just means for taking a note for me. So today we will talk about loop. What's happening here? Yeah, loops, functions, and let me see if we have more time. Uh, I think this is pretty enough, but if we have time, we may see modules, but we target to finish these two today. Okay, I will start by creating a file, loops.py. Okay, guys, if I want to ask you to print hello world 1,000 times, how long does it take for you to write hello world 1,000 times? How much time does it take for you to write this? That means your plan is going to be hello world, and again exactly the same. Do you have any estimation? How long does it take for you to write this?
5,000 seconds.
This is already 1,000 seconds for me. As you can see, each typing already is
Yeah, but I'm a quick typer, so for me it's 5,000.
okay. So 1,000. Maybe you can also copy it once, and you can just do this also. Then you estimate that 1,000. Okay, great. But you can't make it less than that, right?
No.
No. Yes. Okay. So guys, there are in life or at work, there are some tasks which needs just, I mean, something you do it by repeating. Just it's the same thing, just the same thing. So you have to do it many times. So you want to automate, maybe just sending greetings to 1 million users. Yeah. So sending greetings to 1 million users during some a holiday. It takes a long time. Even the holiday may pass without writing it. So that's why we need actually uh, loops. Loops automate. So what's the purpose of loop? What is loop? Actually, loop is the way to automate repetitive task. So it has its own way of so it make you more productive. It make us more productive and allow us to write a clean code. Actually, imagine if I write print hello world 1,000 times, and that's really tiring and it's hard to read. So instead, we use for loop. How the structure of a for loop is actually like this. You need the reserved word for is reserved word, and then I in range and something print something here. Okay, as you can see, I say for in range. This in range actually takes number. For instance, if I want to print up to 5, I have to write it up to 6. It doesn't include the up to the end. It starts from 0 to maybe I can show you what do we get if we print I. Let's print I, okay? So this should give us from 0 to 5. Have you seen? It gave us from 0 to 5. Oh, so that means I actually, is I a reserved word? Can I make it a number? And number?
Yes.
Yes, we can change this. It could be any meaningful, so meaningful character. So it could be any. as you can see, I got again this. So now, based on this, actually, I don't want to, if I don't print n, if I just print just hash, I can print hash actually how many times? 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this allows me to execute how many times? 6 times from 0 to 5. It doesn't include. Actually, this has starting, ending, and step. If that means how much. So we can actually make the starting 0, and it was the ending is 6, but it doesn't include this. The previous code actually means something like this, the previous. So if you don't like to change this one and this one, you don't have to write this because the default is just like that. Maybe I think I can just write it differently and show you the result. This and this means the same, but now it's better if we print n and see the value, okay? Yeah, as you can see, 0 to 5 and 0 to 5. It's the same. But maybe I want to start from 1, so you can change it. You don't like to start from 0, so, and you don't like to increment by 1. Instead, if you want to increment by 2, so what are you expecting from this? 1, 3?
3, 5.
Yes, let's see. Now, as you can see, the previous is the above code, this one from 0 to 5, but the next one is 1, 3, 5. Now, so whenever you write this, the range thing, it takes how many arguments does it take? It takes actually 3 arguments, but it is not compulsory argument. So yes, now if I want you to print that hello world 1,000 times, and this is how you write it, hello world. But guys, if I print 1,000 times, this will be just full of hello world. So you don't expect me to write it. Just let's make it just 10 times is enough. So as you can see, we printed it 10 times. Great. So what do you think about loop? Before we move on, what do you think about loop? Just write one for me. If you get the concept of loop, when to use it, and also how to write it. Okay, so it seems everybody got it. So now let's practice more using this printing out. So how about if I want you to print only even numbers from 0 to 100? Yeah, I will print even numbers 0 to even, print only actually, only even numbers 0 to 100. Yes, another print only odd numbers 0 to 100. Some all even numbers 0 to 100. All odd numbers 0 to 100. Maybe some all numbers 0 to 100. All are similar, right? Okay, what do you think? Do you give me any clue to do this first? Even I think it's better to start by print all numbers 0 to 100. So actually we can use this code, and what we change is from 0 to 100. So we just change this and we print, and this will this allow us to print from 0 to 100. I can run this, no problem.
It's 0 to 99.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's up to 99. Yes, so I have to add additional this. Yes, I like. Okay, so if I run this, it will give me from 0 to 100. Great. Now the plan is actually, how about if we want to print only even numbers? So we can use the same code, but actually we can apply this differently. How about if I use if number divided by 2, if it is equal to 0, then print. So now as you can see, I'm using for loop and if. So that means even numbers are divisible by 2, right? So if something is divided by 2 and if the remainder is 0, that means an even number. Do you agree with that statement, guys? If something,
Yes, but you could write it shorter.
yeah, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so now as you can see, this, first I have to comment this out because it will be really long. So this will allow us to print actually only even numbers. As you can see, 0, 2, 4, 6. And as you can see, all are evens. Great. But as as someone said, this can be also written somehow in a shorter manner. We can start from 0, but we can increment this by 2. So the step will be 2, and we don't need this condition, and that will also give us the same result. So let's comment this out and just run only this code. Yeah, let's run it, and we should get the same result. Great. So sometimes maybe you can also do the odd for n in range. By the way, it's common to use I, that means integer or some count. Most of the time we use count or I, K, J, these are the common here. But I go for I in range, just 101. If I divide modulus 2 different from 0, that means it's going to be an odd number. Yeah, so let's see. 99, yes. So you can add here f, by the way, the number, or say no, since you guys know how to do, is an odd number. Yeah, and write something like this. So as you can see the value, 1, 3, an odd number. Great. You can also add here, but you can also write this differently as the above. How do you, okay, actually, you can start from 1 because an odd number starts from 1. And then if you add 2 every time, it's going to be 1, 3, 5. And you don't need this. Remember the indentation. Actually, VS Code is so smart, and it's just to keep the indentation for you whenever you save. Yeah. But other code editors might not. It might not be as easy on working on VS Code anyway. So this is another way of implementation. Yeah, it's so simple, right? It's doing the same simple thing all over again. So we did this one. Which one is it? Print all numbers. I think the first line does. So we did this. Print all even numbers. We did this. Print only odd numbers. We did this. Sum all numbers 0 to 10. Who can help me that? Okay. First, we have to just leave some total. And I can say the total is 0. For I in range from yeah, because I'm interested from 0 to 100. Actually, what I do is actually total is equal to total plus I. What is this? Actually, it comes 0, 0 plus 0, 0, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. This is how it was. I will print for you here, and you will understand what it means. Print total. Maybe I think I have to make this number a bit smaller, and you will understand. I can go up to 10 first, and I have to comment out this. Yeah, as you can see, we have 0. We printed it out, and it's 0. But it goes down, and this 0 will be added with this additional 0, and that's actually 0. And then 1, 1 plus 0, 1. Then we have 1, 1 plus 2, 3. And 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4. Maybe I can show you what it means. I have to print that also. Have you seen? 0 plus 0. 0 plus 1. 1 plus 2, 3, and it's 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 6, 21, 21 plus, yes, something like that. That's the point. Did you get the point, guys? I hope so. So now let's make this up to then, and we don't need this. And now, if we try to print the value of total here, I think total will be maybe 5,050, some kind of, yeah, 5,050. Yes. So this is for total. How about evens? So if you are interested in evens, you just copy the same code. What you should do, instead of total, you can say evens total.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
It's about indentations, that if I have an indentation after total or at the same level at the total or with the total, is actually printing out like
Yes.
0, 1, 3, 6, and so on. But if I have the indentation at the same level as the 4, I get a different answer. I get the sum.
Yeah, it's yeah. The indentation 4 is it should be inside the 4 all the time. because the execution happens inside. So when the for loop finishes, it gets out from this execution. So for instance, if I am looping, if I am executing something, let me just destroy this. If I am looping up to 5, it goes from how many times? Actually, this goes 5 times. And the 5 execution goes 5 times inside. After that, it goes out. So the reason why I'm also getting the total here is because I want to see after all the summation happened, after all the execution happened, I want to see the total. So it should be outside all the indentation. Did I give your point?
Yeah. Okay. Now I can understand what is happening, because I had some troubles with the codes previously, that with the indentation, that it wasn't at the same right place. So that explains why.
Okay, so you should carefully do what I do sometimes, or if you don't understand why I do that, for what reason, just ask me now. For instance, I'm changing this code to calculate the events total, and last time we agreed that to get the events, actually we can increment by 2, and now instead of we can make events total, and again events total. I think if we run this code, as you can see, it's a bit I made a mistake here, so it should be events total, or maybe you can just events, just to make a bit the code shorter, you can just make it, but yeah, it makes sense. And then if we want to change it to the odd, so for the time being, let's change this to the odds, and even I can change it fast. Odds. I selected them. In my case, this is how I do. Select it, Control D. If you are using a English keyboard and Windows, English keyboard Windows, Control D. I select everything. Sum or total, I managed to change everything at once, so it's good. I do it again. No, don't go up. I only select a couple of this, and then again odds. Okay, so let's see what. Yeah, we got again 200 few, but it should be different, right? Yeah, because we didn't change, as you can see. That's the problem of copying a code. I forgot to modify this to 1. Odds starts from 1. So as you can see, the sum of all odds from 1 to 100 is 2,500, and the sum of all odds from 0 to 100 is equal to this value. Okay, so this is all about loops. Is everything clear so far, guys?
Sure.
Great. Okay. Now I want to let you know, we love countries, right? Again, maybe instead of I write countries all the time, I may find countries somewhere. Do we get countries here? I copy and bring the countries. Yeah, I copy and I put it here. Countries: Finland, Sweden, Estonia, and Norway, Denmark. Now I want you to find the country having Finland. I mean land, for instance, land. Or starts with or ends with land, or some kind of or maybe I think I can ask you a country containing only 6 letters. Countries containing only 6 characters. Actually, do we have? I think this one is, yeah, we have Norway. Yeah, actually, first let me show you. For country in countries. This is how, and then country. This is how actually you go. And actually, when you write also range, it creates list for you. It creates, this actually is creating a list. Yeah, I will come to that. So this allows you to print every of the countries at once. As you can see, Finland, Sweden, Estonia. But if you don't know how to use a loop, you should go like print countries and 0, right? And something like that. Print countries and then 1, something like that. This is very tiring. And if you have 109 countries, something like that, it's hard to do that. So we use loop. For instance, to change all of them to uppercase, you can change to here upper. And then,
Excuse me.
yes.
I can only see a black screen, but is it my Zoom or is it something that is happening for everybody else?
I can see everything.
Okay.
Well, then I maybe need to
Restart something. Yeah. I will be slow, and then you will catch me. Okay. So do you manage to see what's happening here? Guys, we have a list over here, and then we managed to print. Actually, you can also see it before comma. First, I want to, have you seen before it is actually change to uppercase, and then here I change to uppercase. And now if I want to know the length of each countries, as you can see, Finland got 7 letters, Sweden 6, Estonia 7, and Norway 6, and Denmark 7. Now the task is, I want you to figure out countries only 6 letters or characters, and you should put them in a list. Yeah, so your output should be something like this. Sweden, and your output should be like this. Yeah, is this how I wrote Norway? Nice. The new Norway. Norway. Or Norway. Whatever. Doesn't make sense anyway. So I will give you some time, and she will also catch us up and think about how do we get this. And if you solve this already, you can send the code on the chat, and I can have a look. Okay, then I think it's time to solve this together. So if len of the country length is equal to 6, then we append. So we have to create new list, and we have to declare it here as in empty, outside the loop. And then new list, append every time the country. And we don't need this line anymore. So the countries come every time, and it will be checked here if it is 6 or not. If it's 6, it will be appended. So now let's print out print new list. Yeah, have you seen this? Now I want you to take out Finland, and you can use land as in a parameter to select it out. You can use the word land to filter Finland out. Use if conditions to filter it out again. Remember, start with, end with, and also other methods which allows you to check if something is in that string. And what you should do when you have such kind of task, you go Google. For instance, I go how to check said string in Python. I'm not a fan of that one, but I prefer Stack Overflow. I told you many times, Stack Overflow should be your best friend. Let's see here, for instance. If, yeah, actually in a Python, we can use just not in, that's or in a string, but now in our case, even it is
Can I write if
yeah,
land
yes,
in
if, yeah.
country?
There should be if to solve this.
But is it okay to write if land in country?
If land, okay, tell me your code. I can, but we can just for, yeah, okay. I was thinking to write another code. I can duplicate this. So if land, oh, what's your intention?
If land, if the string land is in country.
Okay, string land. Yeah.
But yeah, in country.
Okay. By the way, I wrote here. You don't have to have this. Actually, we don't have if string land. Okay, go ahead, please.
In country.
Because we don't have that. You don't get it there. No, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, but you could go maybe if
land ends with.
First you have to target
if country that's ending with land.
If country, yeah, if if land is in, or maybe in country, Is it what you mentioned?
That's what I tried to say, yes.
Yeah, this is good. I think we can try with this one. We can try with this one. And then you can create a new list, or you can just, as you can see, we got Finland out. Have you seen Finland now? It's outside. But if you don't also want to just put it in a list, you just print it out like just a string, but it's okay. Oh yeah, so I think it is the right time to have a break, and I can pause it and start the video. So resume. Okay, guys, welcome back to the lesson. Yeah, so to join, you go to Google and search for it, join in a join Python list. Just to answer your question, so Stack Overflow is the best place. Yeah, I got it one, as you can see. You add something, as you can see, what to join, and then the join method followed by the list. Yeah, have you seen this guy, this awesome guy asked this question how many years ago? Yeah, decades ago. And then he got about 1,300 thumbs up. That means this is really a very good solution for your problem, no doubt. Why no doubt? Lots of developers used it, so it's good that it was rated high. So again, this Stack Overflow will be your home, your best friend now when you are learning and when you are at work. So don't try to memorize or remember everything by heart, but understand the logic and you will solve your problem. Then we have the countries here. We want to change it to a string, and then I can use just some string, just empty string and join. And as you can see, it gave me something like this, but you can add different things, space. And if you have a space, you will get also space between the words. Even you can add hash if you want, but hash doesn't make sense. But I think usually in English language, there is a comma followed by a space. So thank you for asking that question. But now let's move on to the second session. Yes, I think, let me see, how can we reverse list for I in range. For instance, now you know what we get from this, right? Print I. What do you get from this? From 0 to?
9.
No. 0 to?
9.
9. 0 to 9. So if you want to get 0 to 10, this should be like this. Yeah, even sometimes I forget this, so it doesn't include the last one, but this can be also written. You can add the initial, you can decide the initial. If you want to start from 5, you can put it like this. So what do you get from this? Tell me, guys.
5 to 10.
5 to 10. Okay. If I put this, what are the outputs for this?
5, 8, 11. No, 5, 8.
Yes, 5 and 8. 5 and 8. Now you got the idea, guys. Wonderful. Okay, but I think, can we reverse this? How about instead, for instance, if I put this -1, yeah, because I put in, if I start from 10, And if I want to go to 0, and if I put minus, what do we get? Have you seen how we reverse it also? Yeah, well, actually now this is the last, and this is the, no, this is the starting. As you can see, this is the starting, and this is going to be the end. So of course it doesn't include 0. So this -1 is actually the way to reverse it. No, actually it's not a kind of reversing, just if it decrement by -1. If we put again -2, it will be the other way. So you can also write in this reverse order anyway. So this is the starting, the end, the step again. -10, -2, 8, -2, 6, -2, 4, -2, 2. Yeah, great. If you got this, I will, let me see, did you got this? Yeah, so you can reverse also. It's a very good technique, guys. It's really very powerful to use it to solve some problems. Okay, now another way of writing the same thing, loop, while loop. So far we've been talking about, okay, this is the for loop. Okay, while loop, actually sometimes we don't know how long to or how far to loop. For instance, yeah, for instance, to do the same for I in range of let's make it 5, 6, or 5, and print I. So you know now, by now, you know this print is from 0 to 5. Let's do the same thing. You can declare I is equal to 0 for while I is less than 6, and then print I, but every time we have to increase I by 1. So this actually is the same as this code. Let's see. Print while the loop goes after here, because this is the, okay. Let's print out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we reverse using this? Can we reverse? Yes, why not? Copy. By the way, if some guys are here from JavaScript, in Python you can reuse the variable all over again. Okay, no problem to use variables all over again. Now I'm using I here and again over here for a different purpose. For instance, I can put I up to 5, and then if I is greater than or equal to 0, or maybe I can just put this 6. Oh no, 5 is good. Then print every time I should reduce by 1, subtract by 1, as you can see. Then this should give us the same result. Another example, print another example. As you can see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I managed to reverse with the while loop also. So what you should remember all the time, if you are dealing with a while loop, you should have initialization, initial, condition, and increment. So this will be incremented until it reaches 5. If it reaches 5, actually until it reaches 6. When it reaches 6, this condition will not be fulfilled and it doesn't go inside here. It stops at 6. Okay, do you get this?
Yes, but I think that in the while loop, you can easily make a mistake and get an endless loop.
Oh yeah, of course, yes. So you have to take care of that. So infinite loop. So your chance of making also infinite loop is high. That means if I make this true, or if the condition is just true all the time, that means this run all the time. So that means if this condition is, but we need to know also while loop. There are some cases in which while loop is more applicable to solve some problem than for loop. Yeah. For instance, to solve this question, maybe I think has been removed maybe. Or maybe it's in the for loop itself. Okay, I didn't see it, but maybe it's only in the JavaScript, but you need it. It's very important to know there's a for loop. Most of the time you use a for loop, but sometimes you may need while loop. You rarely need it. Okay, if you understand while loop, let's close our deal about loops. But maybe I think I want you to solve some problem, okay? Because I'm just talking and teaching you, and now I want to ask you to solve this problem. Is there a data? Yeah, guys, when you come to this, the data, you get different datas, and I will give you some project. For instance, as you can see, Romeo and Juliet and Obama speech, Michelle Obama, and Melina speech, and I will add also this, what is a Biden speech, and I may ask you at some point, not now, to figure out which has a more positive sentiment. Positive sentiment based on the speech. I took this longer, like maybe a couple of years ago, but I didn't include Biden's, so I will show you how to, but we will do just small projects related to some kind of data analysis. Even it's a bit closer to machine learning, but we don't care about the algorithms. We just use some package and understand the sentiment of the text, which is more positive text and which is more negative. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Somehow, just dealing with something real life thing. But now what I'm interested is actually is countries, this file. So I want to copy it. And I can put it somewhere here. I can copy and what? I can create a file. I call it countries .py. Yeah, and at the same time, we have to learn how to import data. I can write it here. Maybe I can show you just by creating this copy. I can make it here. Just you can make it here, but it will be too much, right, on one file, and it will be hard to scroll up and down. So instead, you may need to put this in a separate file. You can work, no problem, for instance, for country in countries, and is that countries? Yeah, it's hard now to see all over again and to see the variable name. Oh yeah, it's countries, of course. Why I call it countries? Because many countries, it should be plural. Print C. Now if I print, I will print all the countries from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. Have you seen that? We are just doing the same thing. And then C dot upper, and maybe also to know the length of the country, something like this, yeah. Maybe if I am interested to put this also in a, okay, if I'm interested to put this in an array, actually just put it in like this. If you put it in, you can have an array. When I'm saying an array is actually list. Maybe you can also, if you are interested in the first three letters of this, for instance, I can, for Finland, it's Finn, right? For Finland, the country code is like Finn. For Sweden, Swede, I don't know, to be honest. Is that SWE? Yes, I think so. For Estonia, it is S, something like that. So let's make that. So what we do actually, we slice this. So to slice, this is what we can do. First, we have the uppercase. Let's put it, and we go from 0 to, did we learn this one during the 0 to? We go only 3, so we go up to 4. Then, because we need only 3 letters, yeah, now as you can see, Zimbabwe uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, but why? Because it starts from 0, and if we go up to 3, it will be 4, so it should be up to 3. So 0, 1, 2, and it should stop at 3. Yeah. If you want to know, to be sure, our Finland is a reference for us all the time, because we're sure for Finland it's Finn. So F. Yeah, great. It's fun, right? Programming is not that much difficult. What do you think? Tell me. You know better now.
It's fun.
Great. Now I give you this file, or I don't have to, I just share this link with you. I want you to sort out countries, filter out countries. And what is this? Countries containing land. Great. And it should be an array for sure. That list should contain Finland, because we know that Finland has a land. And another, filter out countries without a land. Oh, can you imagine a country without a land? It's not a country. Okay, anyway, we have list of countries without a land here, sort them out. And we have countries with a land, and sort them out. And tell me the number, how many times, I mean, for instance, I don't know how many countries are in the with land and without land. So I will give you maybe 10 minutes to discuss, or maybe 10 minutes is too much. Yeah, I shared with you already. Just click that link. When you click it, you get it. Either you can download it or select and include in your file. So I will give you another 10 minutes to solve this, okay? Great. So it was not a very difficult question actually, because we had similar problem, the solution already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So how was your solution looks like?
Kelly, maybe you can show.
Can you show how did you link the countries data? Because mine was using the old list, the short one that we used to use.
So guys, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So I used it from the same file. I mean, on the same file, but I think most of the time it's good to have in a separate file. So it's better to work in a separate file. It's okay, but this one is too big. So, and now I will remove this, but we have these countries. So let's import that. We can import it at the top or at the bottom. But if we import most of the time, putting all the imports on the top is good. Import is actually importing the file. So I import, how about this? Like, it's better if I make this to plural because it doesn't sound very good name. Countries. Import countries. From the countries. I think we don't have to have this countries.py. Yeah, let's try with that. So, but as you can see, we have lots of countries. We have used at the bottom. So, no. Now I'm mixing JavaScript with Python. Yes. Yeah, import countries from this file countries.py, and let's see if we manage to achieve that. But I feel that I have something wrong. Now I can just importing, because we will learn importing separately, guys. Importing file from in Python. Okay. I prefer checking the modules from my this is how I import my module name and actually the name of the module. Let's try just countries.
At least for me, when I copy pasted the list of countries from GitHub, there was a space in between before the country name, for example, Afghanistan, which created the syntax error for my side.
Oh, okay. So sometimes, yeah, you may have some, some spaces and some characters which can be copied together, and it needs cleaning. Yeah. This is to import.
Or should you open the file?
No. That's a different approach. We can also do that, but we can, and also that's also another complicating thing. It's not time for teaching open now, because it has every stage to teach how to open, how to read files also. Okay, import. Just, I thought we had open a file here.
I think it should be just import and then the file name without extension.
I did like this.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I did that. Let's see. I'll comment this and see what we have. Print countries. What do we have here? Module countries.
From countries, import countries. From file, import, from import list, for example, from file, from countries, import, and the name of the list.
Yes, yeah, got it. Guys, we can call it, now I imported this file as countries, and then actually this is to gate, it's in a module, it's like a dictionary. So we have to go one step and extract it. So as you can see, I have to go at least. So we can, as data, for instance, dot whatever, import countries as countries. Even we can name it like that now, as countries dot, yeah, I don't have to do that. Oh, this is somehow messing up here. So I think we can extract the countries out there. So to get the countries out, for country of, actually we have here already the same thing, countries dot countries, because now we are getting just a kind of object or module, but now as you can see I managed to get that. You can also put this as in data, and then if you call that data, maybe you should say this data dot countries. Or another importing from countries, import countries. I think this may not, does it also need? Yeah, I think this doesn't need one stage, as it from countries, import countries. This doesn't need to go one. But if you just import countries, this is usually a module, an object. So it's better to, from countries, import countries. And even
if you do it like that, then you are importing only the one
yes,
list.
yes,
But,
the one
but
list.
if you have something else in there, then you have to use, for example, star.
Yes, that's all. Yeah, that's great. So if you want to, from countries, import this.
Yes.
Yeah, that means you are importing everything. But we will talk about importing modules and something in another time. This is just, it happens by accident. So we have to just see how to import. So if you remember this line, it's enough for now. So the question is, filter out countries contain land. So I will, countries with land. Countries with land, empty list, and then I will go somewhere here if land in C, then I will say countries with land, push, not push, append, else we see again countries without land. By the way, literally this without land doesn't make sense, but you got the point, right? Who doesn't got this without land? Yeah, every country has a land, has a soil, but you know, the word land we're talking about here. Countries without land and paint C. Did you do it this way? And now you don't need this line.
Yes.
Yeah, then you did it. So let's see how many countries print countries with land. Okay. Oh, Finland came first. Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Marshall Island, Netherlands, New Zealand, Poland, Solomon Island, and Swaziland, Switzerland, and Thailand. Okay. And the rest will be plenty countries without land. Yeah, those are plenty. So yeah, now so you managed to place. So you can actually play with this data. It has lots of funding, okay? You may just maybe countries containing like, yeah, like Albania, or maybe countries having more than 2 words. If I ask you, for instance, find a country having more than 2 words, or maybe more than a word. So you should select this. You should select this. Burkina Faso, yeah, it's made of 2 words. Cape Verde, this. You can select these guys out, these countries out, yeah? So you can make lots of questions and lots of problems out of this country. I love this country list. Okay, I think we don't spend all day long just talking about loops. Now it is time to move on to other topic. May I move? Did you get everything what we covered so far? Shall we move to another topic?
Yes, please.
We'll
Yes.
see, continue and break to another lesson. How to use continue and break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, before we continue to another lesson. Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, for I in range and print. Now you know what you may print out from this, right? Yeah?
Yes.
For instance, yeah, you don't like to go all the way. Maybe you are looking for 5. If maybe I think this is not a very good example, I may just show you something like numbers. 1, 4, 2, 5, 7, 7. Now you are looking for 5. Or in numbers, you are looking for 5. If n is equal to 5, break. Of course, you print n. Let's see the output, and I will explain to you very well. So 1, yes, it's not 4, 2, but if it's 5, we found. If you reach at 5, or if you found 5, that means break. And if we write it here, it includes the 5. So that is, we don't like to go all the way until the loop finishes, but we manage to break out. This is the purpose of the break. Break is just to interrupt the execution. To interrupt the execution, the looping or the loop. But for instance, again, I may do continue. For instance, you are not interested in the value here. If the number is like odd, you are not interested. If number divided by 2 different from what kind of writing is that? So you should really have space, such kind of space. It makes it look good, if not easy. Now, when I'm looping, or when the loop goes to every number, if it is odd, let's skip it, skipping all the odds. So then we have to check first to, we have to check, then continue, and then print n. What am I doing here? I touched wrong. Exit. Let me just, if you see, what am I trying to do? I have to turn this off, and also turn this off, and turn this. All the code actually is, and we will not have additional code coming from this and distracting. We don't. Now we can run this. Yeah, as you can see, it didn't print 1. And then it just go to, actually this is just a, yeah, so it's a way to continue. If it doesn't print that value, but it just continue. Have you seen how it was skipped, guys? Because this is not inside this condition, it's outside. So, but if I turn off this, you will see that from 1 to 7. But because of this continue, I managed to just select only the events. But nowadays, this continue, especially continue, become useless. Why it become useless? Yeah, I can just write this value, write it here, and I get the same result. Why?
No.
Yeah, of course I can change this to even. I can change it to even, and I get the same result. Yeah, so it's a kind of useless nowadays. This continue is a kind of Maybe you may find some use.
But we use when we try to open like another file, because I know in C we use continue when we want to open another file, and that you can have like a mistake during the tentative. You allowed you to not crash the program and continue to run.
Yes, but you can also handle that using Python. Use try and error, try and accept. So there is a way to handle, because of there are many ways you can substitute continue. Sometimes you may find like continue is like useless.
No problem. We will see. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, but yes, it's a C. Yes, you can. Yeah. So it's anyway. Continue is actually to skip a certain value in a condition. Instead of executing all, skip this. For instance, if you want to skip, this is skipping actually too much, so it may confuse you. Now let's just skip 5. This code actually, and it should be outside. Continue. So what this does is actually it prints all the number, but not 5. Have you seen? This means print all, but not 5. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it has some use cases, but it's good to know all this. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Now let's move on to functions. Really, yes, functions.py, guys. So what did you learn before? You have learned about already about functions, right? But we've been talking about built-in functions. Now it's your turn to create custom functions. Now you know what function is, guys, and why we need to write a function. What does that function means?
It's code that we can reuse.
Yes, we can reuse it. We can reuse it. It's easy to reuse. It is easy to reuse. It makes code easy to read, actually. It is easy to test code. Yeah, that is. Okay, so function, I think I have to use that doodle. Is that doodle, or I don't know what it is. I don't know. Annotate something. I may try the drawing here. Yes, is it what I want? No, maybe I prefer this. I have to remove that. Great. Maybe I can use another tool. Let's have, when you were elementary school or something, you may have some kind of thing. I'm not good at drawing, okay? So don't be surprised here. Okay, we have something like this. Oh yeah, nice. It's nice, even nicer. It's some kind of mission. So this mission actually takes some input. For instance, A, in our case, we have A, an input, and we have another input, B. And actually we have a machine. This machine actually mix A and B together and gives you here some value. Could be the mix of this. It's a very nice machine, right? So what's the function of this machine, guys? I know the example is so simple and it sounds so silly, right, for you to ask this question, but the principle of function is It's like this. No big deal. So what's the function of this figure here?
To add the two numbers.
Yes, to add. So can we give this, then we can, how about then if we make a function here? And so this is how we make a function. Ignore about this, okay? Zoom allows me to use that as a blackboard and at the same time to write on the VS. Got a nice of Zoom. So this is how you create a function. You need the reserved word or the keyword def, and then name of function. The name of the function could be any name. And then you need two parentheses. And then actually this parentheses may or may not have parameters. For now, I don't need. So I just like to print something from the function. Now I'm printing from this. So a function is actually now made. This is our first function. So let me try to run it. But nothing happened because we made a function, but we didn't call it. You guys have a name, right? And if I call you by the name, you may say yes. So now let's call this function by its name of the function. And I have to invoke it using two parentheses. Now this should be out. Have you seen? Print something from the function. Now let's do another function. The name of this function, I call it do something. And then print is going to, of course, I am doing something. Actually, I'm teaching here. Yeah, it's fun, right? So if I run it, do you expect anything? I don't expect, I don't see anything. What's happening, guys? Tell me. Why? Tell me, guys.
We didn't
You
call
need
it.
to call the code.
Yes, again, you have to call it. A function is so beautiful. If you don't call it, it doesn't just do something. And it tells you what you are doing actually. And then, of course, I'm doing something actually. I'm teaching here. And now these guys didn't take any parameters. So when we pass, when we call it, we didn't pass argument. Okay, but this function, as you can see, is so powerful. This one, it takes arguments and mix or do some kind of processing with the arguments and gives you an output. So shall we give a name for our function here? Can you give it a good name for this mission?
Add.
Yes, add two numbers. Def add two nums. And then does it take arguments, some parameters? Does it have? Yes, A and B. And then it's processing inside, as you can see. And total A plus B. And then let's print total. And from now, I think you got the concept, and let me just clear this. Clear all drawings. Now, if I run, I don't see any output. What's wrong with me, guys? I don't see any output here.
You haven't called it yet.
Yes, I didn't call it yet. Do add two nums. And if I do this again, oh, even I broke my code. But
We don't have arguments.
yes, when something happens like this, guys, don't be frustrated. Don't just come here. And especially the last line, the type of the error is add to number, missing two required positional arguments. It needs two arguments. So let's do 2 and 3. What is the sum of 2 and 3? So you are expecting 5, right? That's all about function, guys. Now, this is function. But maybe if I don't have this, instead, how about printing this? Print just this. As you can see, I got none. I want you to tell me where this none is coming from. None. And there's no 5 anymore. So
The
print.
function doesn't return anything.
Hmm?
You need a return statement to
Yes.
to have it to get the value.
Yes. So if a function doesn't return anything, remember the value is null. So remember to return if you are supposed to. So this is now a valid function that returns something. That means saving the value in this variable actually. So now when we invoke this function, we get the value 5. Now you know. So now let's do another function. Def print full name, and it takes 2 parameters. First name, last name, and actually, so full name is equal to first name plus last name. So then full name. This is so easy, right? Then console, oh no, print full name, and then I pass my first name followed by my last name. Yes, I got. Yes, and someone told that you can reuse this function. Yes. For instance, who is in this room? Let me check students. Let me display students' name. Oh, where is the students list? Okay, because I don't remember everybody's. Okay, Pivy, for instance, I can see Pivy with the family name. Just Pivy. It's not changed to finish, so. And then, yeah, so as you can see, you can just pass argument and make use of. Did you get the concept of function, guys, now? This is just as easy as you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of like this, if you remember, we have been using the loops. Let's change some of the code to a function. So do you remember this? Print all number from 0 to 100. So what's a very good name for this function? What? Sum of all numbers, I call it, or sum of all numbers. But usually it's good to have sum all numbers. I call it if, and then it will be n. I can copy this code even, guys, because if you remember, but I think we did for only the events, right? Then if you remember total, you start from 0, and then for I in range up to n. And then total is equal to total plus I. And then you just return the total. This is a very beautiful function now. But remember, this doesn't include the last one. So plus 1 here. Now, if you want, console, no. Print sum of all numbers. What the sum of all numbers from 5 to from 0 to 5? I mean, let's check because it's easy to know that. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can. It's going to be 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. According to my calculation, it's 15. How about yours? Am I right? Let's see. Yeah, it's 15. So once if you make this, actually now, if you want to calculate the total, the sum of all numbers from 0 to 100, you just do this and you got it. Now we can reuse this function. Now I think, can you change it by yourself? Sum of evens and sum of evens or sum of odds. I will just give you. And at the same time, we can have a break of 10 minutes. And when you return, solve a function, sum of evens or sum of odds. We did it when we were doing loops, when we were learning loops. Okay, let's meet after 10 minutes, shall we?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get started. Actually, let's keep going. We've been talking about this. So actually, I gave you an assignment. So did you do it? It's an assignment. It's just a kind of a small question. So at all events, you can call it. Then just n. I can copy the above code and modify, but then evens 0, then 4i in range, and you go n plus 1 because it doesn't include the last. Then even okay, actually in this case I have to use this 0, and I have to this case, or if not, I have to use if condition, but I prefer this one. Equal to evens plus I, and then return the value. Yeah, when you return, you see the indentation. It should be outside. This you will put it here, and this loop runs and runs and runs, and when it finishes, the sum will be collected here, and you return it here. Return evens. Okay, then print at all evens. I think it's good to add to make sense about is, yeah, now I want to know the sum of all events from 0 to 100. Yes, this much. Or you can also, if you want to print it with the string, you can write it like f, like this. Sum of all events is, okay, then you can just put this. Then you will have the sum of all events is this value. How about if you have any question? Let's see. Do you have any question? No question? Okay, now I will talk about default parameters. Default parameters. For instance, let's calculate the weight of a body, on planet Earth. Weight of a body, you calculate mass times gravity, right? And most of us, we don't go to other planets. So let's just keep the value 9.8, yeah? So div calculate weight, and it takes mass times gravity, and I want to put 9.81 like this, and return mass times gravity. By the way, you can even return right away. For instance, I've been doing like this, right? But you can return this value just like this. You don't have to have something like this. And even I can return it here. I don't have to have additional. Yeah. It's getting cleaner and shorter, right? Yes. Okay, so now, as you can see now, let's do print, calculate my weight at planet Earth. If I do not pass any parameter, it cries. You may see some error. Yeah, have you seen now? Let me remove this number. You see that missing one required positional argument, but if you remove this, it may ask you two. Missing to required. So if you pass default parameter, that means this is optional. So now my weight is 55 kilogram. I mean 75. Oh no. So let's calculate. So this is at planet Earth. My weight is this one. So you can just format this one. The weight of the body. Yes. What's wrong? Did I miss something? It should be okay, right? Yeah, it's working properly. But I was expecting some different color. We can add it in Newton, It's in Newton. The weight of the body is 735.7. And we have actually this round. Round is it's already a built-in function. So if you put 3.14, what's the rounding of 3.14, guys? The rounding of 3.14.
3.
Yes, it should be 3. Where is it? Oh, I didn't print out. Print 3. And what is the rounding of 9.81?
10.
Yeah, it should be 10. So now, and I want this to be rounded, so you can apply actually right here, round, and you can apply it. Yeah, so the weight of the body is 736 Newton. And even if you want to add some digit, you can add how many digits? Only one decimal digit. And then as you can see, 735.8 Newton of. But if you go to a planet, maybe to the moon, this is not valid, right? So I have to find the gravity of moon. As you can see, it is 162. So I have to put it 1.62, and then I have to calculate. The weight of the body is 121.5 Newtons. So I will be very light at the moon. So have you seen the importance of using default parameters? So if you know in advance what value is going to be, you can put it as a default. Is it clear? Please write that magical number to know that great. Okay, so what else can we learn? I think we can, I can take any question from you, but at the meantime, I can also check something I may cover in the function list, because I have exhaustive list in the material here. For instance, defining a function, you know this already, and function returning values, you know, function with parameters, you know, and passing arguments with key value. Oh, what does that mean? Yeah, I mean, it's a default value, as you can see, for both returning function, returning value, part two. Yeah, it's part, but it's the same. Function with default parameters, we saw that already. Arbitrary number of arguments, yes, this very good one. Yeah, okay, great. For instance, if you have seen some function, it just take as many like argument as possible. So for instance, if I ask you, I like you to develop a function that adds numbers. You know, it's not just one or two numbers, but numbers. So this one, I call it add numbers, not two numbers, just numbers. Sorry, def add numbers. And actually we have to put like something nums, I can call it nums. If you use this hash, let's see what we get from print nums. And print, no. Instead of just print, it's better to return nums. And print add numbers, and I have to call it, I can pass 1, 2, 3, and let's try to invoke it. Guys, have you seen something here? Yeah, I got something outside from, it comes from here actually. If you don't know where this is coming from, you can check it like this. Sometimes I do something like this. Print, what is it? What is in here? Sometimes that's what I write. And then you can print just nums. Then let's do again. What is in here? Have you seen it, the value? I didn't teach you yet, but this is a different data type. Does someone read about this kind of data type? What is this? Is it it's a tuple, but we will talk about, don't just, tuple is just another data type. We can't modify a tuple. We can't modify it. That means it's immutable. Once it's created, it is just like that. So actually it saves memory because it's something you like, It's not something which you, okay. Now, so what we can do, we can loop through this value the same way you do for arrays, for num of nums in nums. Sometimes, guys, I mixed with JavaScript, but it's okay. Hey, so let's see now the value. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. Wow, great. Then, so total is equal to 0, and instead total, please don't do that. Total is equal to total plus the n, and we should return total. And now you can, what is that?
I think you forget to return.
Okay, that means, okay, great, thank you guys, you're just awesome. Okay, now it's 6. If you want to increase this, how many parameters do you want? How many parameters, how many arguments does this take? Unlimited. 6, 9, 1000, whatever. It just take any, and yeah, so remember, so the difference between the previous and this one, you should have this star next to the parameters, and then everything you get, you pass here, will be accessed here as in a tuple, and you loop through the tuple as you do as you do for list, and then you just sum up. By the way, we can also shorten this by this. You don't have to write something like this, and you can make it a bit shorter. Yeah. And if you know now, you can do the same here. It could be written like this. Because now you got, since you got, yeah, the reason why I write the first time, I write it the long way, and then I start to minimize it, because you have to also learn how to write clean codes. Yeah, so yeah, it works. Okay, now we did that one. That's great. Yeah, even now here, as you can see, this takes like one, for instance, it's a team, but after this argument, anything you pass here will be the member of the teams, for instance. Okay, I think this is a generate group. I will show you by copying here. For instance, generate group is a name of a function. Generate course members, I can call it any name, and then the team name, I call it, for instance, this Python group, Python winter, and the teacher is Sabina. Then Brooke, there's no Brooke here. There's Mark, and there is Raphael, and there is Baptiste. I will write it like Baptiste, Baptiste, and it goes the list, and there's 5. Yes, I think Pyme. What's wrong with so Baptiste? I forgot. Yeah, so if you print this one, actually, I want to show you what you get from the args by printing the args. Print args, argument, that means. Have you seen? You get it as in tuple, but this one as in string. Then you can deal with this value. Anyway, there's an example here. And maybe the last, even though it's not here, lambda function. Lambda function, or in JavaScript, we call it anonymous function. And anonymous function is a function which doesn't have a name. So lambda we can say x is equal to x. What does this mean, for instance? Actually, it's a square. So you can store this value. I can store this value, for instance, a square. It's a square. And if you want to know what's the value there, you just print a square. And then if you pass 3, the square of 3, what's the square of 3? It should be 9. So when do you need lambda? If you don't have a plan to use this function all over again, so if you have a plan to use a function once, or if you have a plan to use a function in a higher order function, then you use lambda. I think for now, it should be enough. Now let's talk about what we are going to cover next week. Yeah. Yes. But is I think let's write here was function clear. Yeah, so can you write a function by yourself now? Different function? I think so. You just do the way I did it a couple of times, and then you just be, and then you will be very familiar with it, okay? So that's how you do it. Great. Then let's deal with what we are going to cover next week. Okay, next
Can
week.
I ask one question, please?
Yes, please.
About the lambda function, can it have more than one argument?
No, you mean this one?
The lambda function, yes.
Yeah, you can have. For instance, let's do this. Do you know, for instance, okay, we can say y is equal to, now maybe c is equal to 3x plus 4y, right? This is some kind of equation. It has two values, and then the value will be here, right? So now let's just say lambda xy, and then we can say 2, no, it should be called 2 times x plus 2 times y. Have you seen?
Mm-hmm.
Then, but you have to change this, name something a linear equation, whatever, linear equation whatsoever, just linear equation. So from this value, for instance, if we pass this 1, what's the value?
6.
6. 1, 1. So I'm expecting 6. What? Oh, I have to remove this, or I have to comment out. Because this should be 4, right? This should be 4. Yeah, have you seen? Yeah, you can add multiple variables here, okay?
Fine.
Yeah, you can add multiple variables. It's very powerful sometimes. And when we learn higher order function, you will see the power of lambda function. And in addition, when we solve problems, we didn't start solving problems together, but I hope you are checking these 30 days of Python by yourself. And yeah, so far what we have covered. We didn't talk, what we didn't cover. Tuples, it just take 10 minutes. Sets, it takes 10 minutes. Dictionary, maybe about 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Function, we did already. We will talk about higher order functions, list compressions, and this next week. Yeah. So after next week, you will be in a very good shape to solve any kind of problem, okay? Yeah, and after this, even after today, you are already in a very good shape. That's the whole concept of programming. If you manage to understand what we have covered so far very well, that means you are in a very good shape and you will be able to solve any kind of a functional problem. We didn't learn object, what object is, what class is. That comes later, but still, Python is a scripting language, and which is you don't have to write that of more of a class and object. Even you can solve lots of problem by just using functions, but we will cover also classes and what object is. That means the object oriented programming. Where is it? Somewhere around. Yeah, classes and objects. Another question if you have. Okay, so now let's rate your learning today from 1 to 10. How do you rate? How much do you understand? How much do you enjoy today? Let's see. There's 11. So is the 11 a compensation for the 7s and the A's? Okay, good. Guys, thank you so very much. But I have something to say. Don't miss any class. If you miss one of my class, it's hard to connect. It's hard to continue. Did you get the point? Because we cover a lot of topic in just one day. You don't have to revise it by yourself, but don't miss any class. Does it make sense, guys?
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't have to really revise. What we learn here is really